Are they on the elimination match?
Yes, they are.
Ah, okay. So, you know, it's going to be another tough one. It's just so many players that are getting like knocked out.
Actually, I think they're 5-1.
Oh?
I apologize, yeah.
Oh, okay.
They are 5-1, yeah.
So instead, the players are doing very well.
Apologize.
Yeah, yeah. I'll let you off for this one. This one time.
I think they are 4-2.
I think Ostkaka is 4-2.
Are they 4-2?
I asked Ostkaka yesterday and he told me he's 4-2.
Yeah, Tars is 5-1. I was
Sorry, someone was nodding, waved their head no, so I was like, oh crap, I must have messed it up.
At the same time, like some people get paired down because like some people couldn't make it.
Right, right. So some people get like a 5-1 might face off against a 4-2. Okay, well, thanks for the inside, RD. Good luck in your next rounds.
Thank you.
And for now, I guess we're going to head to the game. So
yeah, I'm pretty sure these guys are 4-2 because I went through all the 5-1s earlier with my regular stat nonsense. So.
Yep. So we're going into the game now. So enjoy again, guys.
All right, thank you very much, Raven. So we're going to Zoo Warlock up against the Dragon Warrior, I'm assuming, based off the Core Chrono lead.
Seems like that's good.
Yeah, every other card is debatable, like is quite possibly part of Control Warrior. But the Core Chrono Elite heavily implies that Ostkaka is playing Dragon Warrior, which would be another interesting thing about it, because I felt like Dragon Warrior, while not inherently a very popular deck for people to play against, people really hate Dragon Warrior, but it's also one of the things where it's fallen so far out of favor that it's got this face hunter type of appeal where it's like, oh, okay, I thought we were past this. I thought that we were done. Like,
right, we grew out of this.
Yeah,
yeah,
like we grew up past Dragon Warrior, but all of a sudden it comes back, it's like, man, you know, it's not so bad when we only see it once in a while. Compared to, you know, Shaman, where everyone's like,
we don't see Shaman at all.
Oh, we've seen a couple of
because it's banned all the time.
It's true. Actually, Shaman is so rare in this tournament to be shown on stream that it might actually be slightly refreshing to see for some people.
It's really strange. That's how it just goes sometimes. Interesting to see Ostkaka back playing for Alliance now as well. I think that the new HCT season has revitalized several players, like Firebat, Ostkaka have gone.
Look at the fact that he had 3 soul fire opportunities.
But they're just pointing at me, I'm like, oh my goodness. Yeah, so it's revitalized some of these players who've had a bit of time off since their big successes, and they're like, okay, let's go, 2017. Yeah. Looks like it's going to be a great year for Hearthstone. They want to be a part of it, and Alliance definitely a place to be a part of it.
So Ostkaka doesn't get the Dragon with the Alex Ross's champion charge, so he could just play a vanilla 2-3, which plays into Direwolf Alpha only, and I guess Abusive Sergeant, but that would mean that your opponent plays weak stuff, and that allows you to use Ravage Eagle the following turn. There might even be room to play the Finley here too.
One of the big downsides here is the information it gives away. Usually information in Hearthstone is not gigantic, but when you know your opponent hasn't got a dragon, things like Blackwing Corruptor, you can just not ignore them, but it's definitely a lot more favorable for you. You can ignore Twilight Guardian.
No, you're completely right. The range is shrinks down?
Yeah.
There's a lot less range that your opponent has. The Soulfire, pretty important to just make sure to establish tempo. I don't disagree with this with Vinz. You know, playing the Imp Gang boss into that means that you're given the 2-3 value. And now Ostkaka has the opportunity to develop the Frothing Berserker. He already saw one Soulfire being used.
Yeah.
So it feels like a very logical conclusion to make. Although,
if might be disappointed.
If Vinz picks up Silverware Golem, it is going to be devastating. Okay. No blowout victory.
No blowout, but it's pretty strong position with no dragon in the hand and
maybe
a pretty awkward hand. It can change fast.
Core Chrono Elite here would actually be really bad for Vinz. Because actually, the 1-1 would trade into it, but the fact is that Ostkaka had an opportunity to maybe climb back onto the board. So I take that back. Core Chrono Elite's not as insane as I thought it would be.
And one thing that I want to highlight from what you were talking about a minute ago to do with Dragon Warrior, to do with stale metas, when a meta stabilizes like it has, there is usually an opportunity for somebody to sit down, go, this is the meta so hard, I know this is the meta, that I can rebuild a new meta for myself. And at some point we might see the person who wins this event actually being the guy who does that. Things like Dragon Warrior coming back are definitely a part of the meta stabilizing.
So the Hunter and the Warlock hero power are 2 of the ones that people love the most with Dragon Warrior. I think, given the fact that you have Curator, you're not going to run out of cards, but you don't have any board control tools. Druid hero power would actually be okay. You know, Mage, obviously. I wonder if there's a world where he chooses... Yeah, and I was about to say, I wonder if there's a world where he chooses to play board-centric and choose Shaman. And this, I was sort of, like, thinking about it, and immediately in my head I was like, nah, it's stupid. But then...
I was thinking the same as you, yeah.
He picked it, and now I'm starting to think that it's actually kind of genius. Because this taunt totem is super annoying for Vinz to deal with right now.
And a 1-1 would have been okay.
Yeah.
1-1 spell damage wouldn't have been that good. We don't say that very often.
Spell damage totem is terrible.
But the others all make sense.
Yeah.
And healing's fine as well, really.
For Ostkaka, he cares about board control the most. People think that, why not Hunter Hero Power? It's because Ostkaka realizes the way to win this matchup is to win the board.
Yeah.
So Hunter doesn't do anything to it. He's already going to draw cards with the Curator, so card draw isn't really an issue. Not to mention he lowers his own health.
And that button probably only gets pressed 2 or 3 times in the whole game, so the extra cards or the extra damage from the Hunter, not as important in his mind to just putting 2 extra minions on the board.
Here's the thing, though. Ostkaka doesn't have a dragon at all, so Blackwing Corruptor is very awkward.
And Korkan Elite is just fashionably late to this party.
Yeah. I mean, in hindsight, he would love to have Korkan Elite snipe the 2-4 before it became a 3-5.
Right.
But, you know, beggars don't get to be choosers.
The truth is in here.
Ostkaka is just going to deal with the pressure. Oh, wow. Order! L-U-L. Just kidding.
Yeah, he was obviously trying not to get another discard effect, but he has used 2 Soulfires.
Sometimes acting 12 years old is so fun, Lorinda.
I've done it for the last 50 years or something. It's fine. I agree entirely.
You're not that old, dude.
Anyway, moving swiftly on.
Alright, well, Ostkaka finally picks up a dragon, so Blackwing Corruptor is able to help clean back the board. And he's got taunts for 2 turns back to back. He can play Curator, which means he guarantees draw a dragon, and then Twilight Guardian gets played. Or in the Bennett, and also in other scenarios, at turn 7, he can play the Ravaging Ghoul and Twilight Guardian if he draws a dragon anyways. So he has options at his disposal, but oh, interesting.
Yeah, so he's going to clear up what he can now, then turn 7 probably Curator, and it hasn't got much to fend off anymore. Obviously he'll be upset at that totem roll, and then maybe he just stabilizes. It doesn't seem likely.
I gotta say, I am very surprised by that play, because I thought Blackwing Corruptor and the attack is the same thing, except you have a 5-4 on the board. You keep the Ravaging Ghoul in case you need to activate Execute, and the fact that it fit in so well with the turn 7 mana play, which gives you 2 options. You can play Curator and Ravaging Ghoul / Twilight Guardian. Why do you think he went for the Ravaging Ghoul?
Turning that on its head, the Ravaging Ghoul's never
1.
going to kill anything, probably. I mean, we can see there's an abusive, so that's wrong. And maybe the Corruptor gets a better, more important target later. That's all I've got. Maybe he just thought that efficiency-wise over the whole game, getting the Ghoul to do something right now might be better.
It is certainly interesting. And I guess Ostkaka goes for the Curator this turn? Because it's the same, it's like kind of the same effect as the Twilight Guardian, unless you can hero power and ensure yourself a taunt totem.
And if you take down the 2/2, then the Curator has a chance of living if somehow Zoo doesn't have any damage. But you have seen an abusive, 2 Soulfires, there's a chance he doesn't have any damage right now.
I'd probably consider taking the value trade. You still have 5 health onto 5 damage onto the board, and no matter what you play with the taunts, it's a 6 health taunt. So it's unlikely that your opponent's able to kill it.
Yeah, I think that's where you go.
Well, is it though? He's played Defender of Argus, he hasn't played a Direwolf Alpha, he doesn't have Doom Guards yet, and he played an Abusive. Actually, yeah, I think on average, based off the draws that you've seen, the 6 health is safe. You don't have to trade 3/3 into 3/3.
And you're in such a mess, I think you're in a situation where you have to give some concessions to I only win if he hasn't got certain cards.
Fierce Monkey is pretty good.
Yeah, this next turn, if there is a next turn, is starting to just look okay. Oops.
Alright, so he can get past the taunt.
It's part 1 of the equation.
But it is very costly, that it's very expensive. I mean, this is part of the reason why I was saying that Ostkaka could get away with a value trade. But it's a hard read to make because you're so afraid of the blowout potential from your opponent.
Yeah.
He had Doom Guard. So if you didn't kill the 3/3, you should maximize the damage from your opponent. So Ostkaka took a safer line. I can't blame him at all. We have caster vision, so we get to say like, well, he doesn't have any damage. And now Vinz is stuck in his position of like, do I just take the turn to play Darkshire Councilman instead? Because I mean, I set it up so that way it's better.
I mean, he wants to buff the Darkshire Councilman with the Defender. That's what's upsetting him right now because he can't do those things and he does need to put stuff on the board. And he's actually going for this route, which means he's going to get good buffs somewhere.
The fact that Vinz has also put Ostkaka at 5 and not 4, and he's ready to use 2 Soulfires plus 1 of his Dark Peddler means that his outs to close the game are just strictly limited to Doomguard if he can get past the taunts. Ostkaka now has the Fierce Monkey, which is, in my opinion, a very big pickup because that allows him to play Blackwing Corrupted this turn, plus the Fierce Monkey.
Yeah, with those Soulfires gone, every health on a taunt minion is just extra life gain. It's just straight up health gain.
Yep.
And so, yeah, 2 taunts in hand if he even wants to go that route. He'll want to speed up the finish because Zoo does get through. Even Zoo used to just get through massive taunts in Druid, let alone in Warrior where you're down to 5 already.
Okay, so he's just prioritizing as much health as possible, still afraid of that potential Doomguard draw. Can't blame him either. Again, if he's taking a conservative line of what Zoo can do, I mean, his opponent like shuffled this 1 card for a long time. This Defender's been stuck in the hand for multiple turns now. So I think Ostkaka is making a read that it's a very expensive card, which it is.
And it could be a Doomguard.
If it's Doomguard, he's playing these double taunts, which makes sense.
And the way he loses from this position is drawing 4, or letting his opponent draw 4 cards from the Imps off a Doomguard.
So Ostkaka is playing around a lot of stuff, but the downside of his line of play is that his hand is so clunky the following turn that he only can play 1 thing in Hero Power. But that's why Shaman Hero Power has actually been pretty relevant, because it might give him a Taunt Totem, might give him a Healing Totem.
And this is the other downside of that line, is this Councilman now is getting a little bit out of control.
Yep. I just want to put it out there that I love watching Ostkaka play because he just does it so differently than almost everyone else.
And it always makes sense after he's done it.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't do this. And then he does it, you're like, oh, he can do that. And of course, it's obvious now.
He's not always correct. I mean, he's one of the first people to criticize himself, but he's also always thinking about all the possibilities, and like a lot of his plays at least have logic behind it instead of just like, man, this is just good. I feel like when people say that, it's a cop-out to not necessarily thinking things through, but Ostkaka really thinks things through, so I always respect listening to his thoughts and his plays. Fire War Axe fills out the mana curve slot, so if you get Taunt Totem with Fire War Axe and Blackwing Corruptor, you clean up most of the board here.
Yeah, the War Axe is a little bit problematic now. He's lost his hero power, though. He can't do much with that.
But as long as your opponent doesn't have a single Doomguard, you are good to go.
Or buff, or basically anything.
Yes.
It's kind of looking bad, but he's not dead yet.
He's not dead yet, and he's going to be able to clean up more of this board here.
And this is just the power of Zoo. A moment ago, there were taunts everywhere, looked pretty stable, like he might have stabilized. And Zoo just keeps doing that thing that aggravates people so much. So, any buff, 2 or more.
Do you go face here? Because you have to start killing your opponent. If you put him to 16, and assuming he life taps, he's at 14, you have 5, 6, 9. You can't kill him if you pick up Korokron on a lead.
You can put him below 15, though, which gives you a 9/9.
Yeah, but you're trying to kill him in 2 turns.
Sure.
So you can't set up a 2-turn lethal.
So you trade because you can't set it up, sure.
Still on a Doomguard to win the game. Direwolf Alpha.
And if he had gone face, that would have been lethal.
Yeah, you're absolutely right there.
Yes, it would.
Yeah, it would.
Because he could have traded into the. He could have buffed. Yeah, sure.
Buff the 2 1-attack minions, double trade, and then 3-attack Defender Guardians.
Nice. But this has made it really messy again.
Yeah, it's one of those scary things.
Right?
It's one of those scary things, but your opponent already used 3 taunts in their deck.
Yeah.
So I feel like you're in a pretty good spot. It's unlikely that Ostkaka draws the last Twilight Guardian. And I think after that, there's just no more taunts. And he's given up his warrior hero power, so he doesn't have the ability to even gain life.
And there's an obvious but common theme to people's hands when they've just lost to Zoo. It's always full of things that just cost a lot of mana.
Yes, specifically these Draconiid Crushers have been very clunky.
That's if he loses, of course, but don't think there's anything we're missing here.
I think Ostkaka is forced to hero power here. I think he needs Taunt Totem, and it's a 50% chance. It's not guaranteed. If he doesn't get it, then he's just dead to anything on the board, and he needs every single thing to fire on all cylinders. He needs to Blackwing Corrupted the 2/2. He needs to get a Taunt Totem, 5/4 into the Imp King boss, and then the 1/1 Searing Totem into the 1/1
Right, and then he needs to find something the next turn that means that he either wins the game or doesn't die then as well.
That's his only line, unless Azure Drake can hit Twilight Guardian. So what are the better odds? A 50-50 on the Taunt Totem or the Twilight Guardian draw? And I'm pretty sure it's the Totem.
Which are the better odds to win the game?
But that's only to stay alive. You're absolutely right. How does he win the game from that position?
So the Azure Drake may have been slightly better in terms of if you do draw the Guardian, maybe you last 2 more turns. But he was always fighting an uphill battle after that start. Got quite a lot of use out of that hero power. It wouldn't have done much as a hunter power, I don't think. It may have taken a turn away.
That was a surprisingly decision-intensive game from Dragon Warrior.
Right.
And again, I don't want to say it to just like demean the Dragon Warrior in general, but people criticize that deck for being like the secret paladin of 2016,
deck, right?
Where it's like it's a curve deck and nothing else. That actually required a lot of decisions, which I think could have influenced the actual outcome in different ways. Like, for example, Ostkaka choosing to play Ravaging Ghoul instead of Blackwing Corruptor. Would that have meant that his hand was less clunky?
Because it never came down until way too late in the end.
Ravaging Ghoul always has use against Zoo, in my opinion. It's one of the more useful utility cards, even though it doesn't kill everything outright.
Talk about a mirror match. This mirror cards.
Yeah. Do you want to throw any of that away for Ostkaka?
The Direwolf's tempting, but you just keep, if you've got the Flame Imp and the 3-drop, I think you keep any 2-drop to bridge the gap, no matter what. I think that there's something RDU mentioned one time was you just keep the curve if you've got the 1 and the 3.
Yeah, it's so powerful to go turn 1 Flame Imp against or if you're going second as Zoo, because you can answer anything that they play. There's nothing that they can do to stop it. There's no 2-4, there's no 1-4.
And you've ruined their 1-3s if they happen to have those in hand. And Vinz had the best answer to it, which is just the same card.
Possessed Villager is probably the best, but then people contemplate throwing Possessed Villager away on the mulligan because it's not impactful enough against 1-3s. Right. So if they play Malkazar Zimp or Voidwalker and you play Possessed Villager, you're in it for a bad time. So if you start off with Flame Imp and you know your opponent doesn't tend to keep Possessed Villager, it's a pretty safe assumption that you're going to destroy the board here.
But of course, then there's the other thing, which people imagine how this would have been a few months ago when mulligans weren't revealed or were revealed as you went. It's like, I'm going to see what he keeps before deciding whether to throw mine away.
I'm glad we went with.
Thank goodness that got so we grew out of that one as well.
Do you think Ostkaka plays as Direwolf Alpha and then attacks face? Yeah, just because what can your opponent really do on up to 3 mana to punish you for that?
Yeah, I think he probably did. I've seen more and more Zoo matches do that, where both players just don't trade and hit face because they're kind of giving ground.
I mean, you can't get punished by Demon Fire, so it's something that's on your mind. But I kind of like this attack.
Yeah.
You're squeezing that damage, and being able to force your opponent into a defensive trade position is really powerful. Because the situation would be the same, but you get the damage in this time. I like it.
Which one do you kill? Pretty sure you kill the Imp, but leaving the Wolf up can be really dangerous. We're going to coin out the Imp Gang Boss, I'm assuming, at this point.
Yeah, coining out Imp Gang Boss definitely seems the play. I guess you trade into the 3-2 because if they have another Direwolf Alpha or Abusive Sergeant, it's kind of the same thing either way, and you'd rather deal with a 2-2 than a 3-2. Keep the health on your Imp Gang Boss.
Yeah, makes sense to me. And the Wolf's not going anywhere anytime soon. It's not buffing anything anytime soon. But now it is, and they've got to deal with it. But you've got the ideal minion, so we're good.
Not a bad draw. Before it was actually maybe Direwolf Abusive is still better. Is it though? Because Darkshire Councilman becomes a 2/5.
Yeah, straight away.
And a 2/2. No, it has to. Actually, hold on. Let me think.
I like the Councilman because then your opponent, if he trades into the Imp Gang Boss, it becomes a 3/5. Like you buff it to 2/5 instantly, then they've got to use their Imp Gang Boss and make Imps to buff yours, basically.
Yeah. No, it is better this way because you get punished less by Defender of Argus this way. Yeah, I think this is ultimately a lot better because one of the ways that you're really afraid of playing smaller minions is they trade into like your Direwolf and then they play Defender.
Right.
And then you're like, oh crap.
I love all the little interplay with Zoo where even the little positioning there is, okay, the Imp's going to spawn there, I want it not next to my Councilman.
Yep.
I want those things on the left-hand side and the right-hand side.
Not to mention that Darkshire Councilman is just 5 health, which is really annoying for Zoo in every capacity when they have 2 on the board.
Yeah.
They usually buff in 2s, or they do Soulfire, so 5 health is super annoying for Ostkaka right now. So, what do you do here? You can play Juggler, you can bump into something, and to go for that, or you can just play a second Imp Gang boss. Both of those have there's viables for both plays.
I think, it's easy to say I think he's going to do this because I can see which card he's picked up, but I feel that getting the 2 Imp Gang bosses down gives you a chance to just flood the board.
Yeah.
Whereas everything else looks kind of slow.
Yeah, he's trying to dump the hand as much as he can before Doomguard too, so I like it. Either way, I definitely felt like playing Abusive Sergeant was a good play. The only thing is Knife Juggler gave you an opportunity to hit 50-50 on hitting the 2-1 or the 1-1.
Oh, there's so many ways to buff everything here. Like the double direwolf before you start. The Councilman gets buffed whenever you trade in the Imp Gang boss as well.
So we're definitely thinking about at least buffing the Dark Shark Councilman to get a snipe on the 2-4 on the far right. So there's one Direwolf Alpha place between that.
But it buffs anyway when we run in the Imp Gang boss into a minion, and it buffs when we play another minion. So we don't even need to use the abuse if we don't want to.
Yeah, I actually kind of like double Direwolf a little bit better. Because you're absolutely right. You can actually do the Imp Gang boss into... Oh, well, maybe you want to collect the value, though. So you want to do 2-2 into the 1-1 demon.
Yep.
Okay. I mean, this goes into the Imp Gang boss on the far left,
yep.
right? And then your Imp Gang boss goes into a 1-1, and then your Dark Shark Councilman goes into your opponent's Imp Gang boss.
Is there a world where this Councilman ends up going face? I don't think there is.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, this is...
Okay. I was kind of expecting him to trade first with the Imp Gang boss and then place a second Direwolf between the Imp and the Imp Gang boss.
And then because you wouldn't need to buff the...
Now on the far right, this Direwolf's kind of stranded, so...
It was a ropey sort of turn.
Yeah,
and one thing I've trained myself to do, and I think a lot of players do the same, if they've got something in their head, don't change your mind to join the rope. You're trying to... If you see a clear line, join the rope, then take it. But if you go halfway through a rope turn, just bad things happen.
So he had the right idea. I think the only thing was positioning, that's all.
Yeah.
He did the exact play that we were talking about. Just the last Direwolf Alpha could have placed, because the 3 attack didn't matter on the 1-1, so...
Yeah.
Great draw, by the way, on the Silverware Golem.
While that's going on...
World champion level draws. Well played. Easy trade onto the one of the Direwolves. I guess you could also send one of the Imps into the Imp Gang boss. Or maybe just kill the 2-1, yeah. I would kill one of the 1-1s instead. Just isolate the Imp Gang boss. 1-1 into the 1-1 maybe.
This is the glory of Zoo, where they do end up just trading and not hitting each other in the face. Sometimes they go face a lot more now, but this is just going to be a trade fest for the next 2 or 3 turns.
This is why I'm thoroughly convinced that Blizzard never really wants Zoo to go away, because at its heart, this is kind of what Hearthstone was supposed to be about, right? At least on paper. It's about minion trading, board control, fighting back and forth.
Yep.
I think people also value this too. As they continue to learn Hearthstone, they really understand that a lot of these small trades could end up being determining who wins.
Wow!
Oh, my goodness.
And that makes this turn so much easier now. No decisions to make at all, basically, on this particular turn.
That was a 1-3 that it happened, and Vinz being able to land it was huge, because if he lost that, he was stuck with Abusive Sergeant. Much worse position. Well, maybe we spoke a little bit too soon. Ostkaka still has an opportunity to draw really impactful cards here.
Playing the Peddler first, which is always interesting these days because of the opportunity of picking up a Soulfire, which...
That's huge. No one mana play, but... yeah, I mean, second Doomguard here, pretty impactful as well. But if Ostkaka didn't have that Soulfire, I think Vinz would have ran away with the game.
And if he had tapped first, he wouldn't have a Councilman in his hand.
And the thing is... oh wow, okay, I was about to say this. If Vinz goes for Doomguard, he would have no cards, and Ostkaka, if he draws a Soulfire, would actually just come back on the board. So Vinz not playing the Doomguard here prevents himself from getting blown out. But he gives a turn for Ostkaka to swing back the board if he gets Doomguard.
Wow.
Oh, Imp and Doomguard, so the next card he draws, he's going to discard anyways.
Okay, so Ostkaka now gets 2 goes. These jugglers just don't like the heroes.
That was really unfortunate. Okay, second. So the second golem here. How good is it to play it versus tap? On average, the draw for Zoo is 2.5 mana.
The fact that it buffs your Councilman probably makes it worth playing.
But you also can save it and play another minion, most likely, because the only ways you can get punished is if you play... Actually, no, if you tap into Doomguard, it's good. And if you the only way you can get punished is tap into Defender Vargas. That's the only bad scenario here. Actually, I guess you could get. Does he play both in-game bosses though, right?
Yeah, he played them both on turn 4 or something. Yeah.
2 cards punish him on the tap. Darkshower Councilman #2
is a really good result.
And this was the perfect outcome. So I think Ostkaka calculated the odds here. Instead of just slamming it down, he realized, based off the way he outfitted his deck, there's a very, very low chance he gets punished for this. Because if he gets Doomguard, he still discards the thing anyways. And then if he gets Defender Vargas, he's stuck in an awkward position.
Nicely worked out. By Ostkaka as well. So...
What is this? 2 1-drops and a Doomguard. Do you want to discard one of them and draw a card? I mean, I don't think the 1/3 is that impactful right now.
That might be going through his head for sure. But it might be good next turn if he draws a Soulfire, tap, draw 2 cards. So.
Yeah. But I mean, 1/3s get eaten up by all these. Everything's like 3 attack or more.
But they can't eat everything. If they're eating up the 1/3s, they're not killing the Doomguard, I guess.
All right, that's fair. Oh man, if Ostkaka picks up Soulfire, he's going to be in a great spot. Life tap is certainly going to happen. Oh, it's awkward.
That's really awkward because both players are just starting to sneak down on health, so someone's going to have to start tapping or stop tapping in a minute, and that could settle the game as well.
Yeah, it can't kill Doomguard, so you're definitely playing at least 2 left cards. Flame Imp, because of the 1/3s, I feel like you have to play as well. Oh, I like this. Ostkaka's thinking about keeping Malchezaar Zim because he might realize the importance of having the card draw.
Yep.
And the 1/3 is not that impactful given that he should be able to eliminate everything on board on paper. But the question becomes if whether or not the 1/3 is good to contest whatever your opponent draws.
Yeah, just this crazy back and forth still happening.
No Doomguards, no Soulfires remaining, so Vinz pretty much just has Darkshire Librarian, but I think he also played one of those, so I think that Silverware Golem's just going to come down honestly. There's no point in holding on to it.
Yeah, and he may only have one of those in his deck as well. There may actually be 0 discard apart from like Peddlers left.
He has 6 mana.
One of those.
He has 6 mana, so he might as well play it, but if, in the event where he wasn't able to play both cards, he should have probably considered playing the Silverware Golem. The way the trade can go down, I guess 1/3 can go into the 1/1.
Yeah, it has to, but it's like...
And then I think you just maybe hit your opponent in the face to put him down to 9. Like you mentioned, reducing your opponent's ability to life tap is a huge thing. I do like the Doomguard going to face.
This is supposed to be an easy mirror match, right?
No,
everybody
Super
understands
is actually
everything
really
about
hard,
it, right?
man.
I'm just looking at this going, how on earth do you play these turns?
We have the benefit of being able to look at both hands, but
yeah.
Oh, huge card. I think you also should life tap here too. Wait, unless he has another Soulfire, that would be really bad. But that's unlikely. Yeah.
And now he can cycle this villager that he doesn't want. You were saying earlier they're not a particularly impactful card in the mirror, so he can just get rid of that and try and find something good like a Doomguard.
Yeah, Defender Vargas would
Soulfire.
Be absolutely massive too. Another Soulfire would be sick. Agreed. I like it. I don't think Possessed Villager is going to be that good.
He's going for
he's going for the face? He's going for the lethal? Wow, he realized he had a high chance to win the game.
He must have had like abusives and defenders, so many chances to win the game there.
Oh my goodness, I was not expecting that of all things. And that was a cool, that was an awesome play. He has another Doomguard, another Soulfire. If he is playing abusives, if he has Defender of Argus, he had so many outs for lethal. That's something that I didn't consider at all.
Yes.
I got hyped for a second because I was really hoping Ostkaka got rewarded for a phenomenal spot, but
and one of his strengths
just didn't work out.
One of the things that came out of 2015 World Championships, he just remembers everybody's deck list. There was a famous meme where he was talking about, it favours me because I know everybody's deck list when they weren't allowed to record stuff in one tournament.
Tap is so risky because you know that you're getting close to Doomguard range, and that's not a helpful card either. So Vinz now he definitely has to trade into those 1/3s. 1, he gets value off the Imp Gang boss, but 2, he doesn't die to Doomguards, which he knows Ostkaka still can tap into. And then Ostkaka still has a couple outs here because he can get a cheap buff plus Doomguard to end the game. He's still on a draw to win.
Show us.
No, so he can't win this turn no matter what. There's the Doomguard though. Okay, so Doomguard, I think Doomguard goes face maybe, and then you play the Voidwalker, so then you set your opponent down to 2. He has to win with his next card.
Doomguard doesn't go face because he thinks he has more buffs. So he can get 7 from it next turn anyway, I think.
You sure? You
no,
sure?
I'm not sure at all.
I want my opponent to draw 1 card next turn. Oh, he gets Defender of Argus! He was going for, once again, an opportunity to win.
Yeah,
but
you're right. You only want him to draw one card next turn. Now he can't because he went for that opportunity to win and it didn't come up. Oh my goodness.
World champion balls.
What?
I don't know how he
is
sits down
going
with
on?
cojones that large, man.
And now you're right. Now he's let it so that Vinz can tap.
Yeah, but he is 1 damage off, and Dark Shadow Cancel is not it. And if he taps and he can't do it, no, he doesn't have anything left in his deck. That's gonna be it.
This game of chicken
Holy
has been
crap.
ended, and Ostkaka's found a way, despite missing that amazing attempt at lethal last turn,
Oh man,
to sneak over the finishing line with Zoo, but wow.
this was some high-level Hearthstone. Even though on the surface it might look like just Zoo versus Zoo and just crushing each other, like basically having toy cars mash into each other. But it's not that at all. There's a lot of decision makings and probability calculations. I loved this game, and Ostkaka is going to stay alive going to the next round. Wow.
And I want to see you cast toy cars crashing into each other as well. That sounds a great game.
I do tend to cast Shaman vs. Shaman sometimes.
Nice.
All right, well, Ostkaka survives for another round, and Vinz played an excellent game.
Yeah.
Very well fought back and forth. And, Raven's joining us back. What do you think of that series, man?
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, we sort of jumped in at Ostkaka 2-0 up versus, with the Dragon Warrior, and I thought it was going to very quickly just be a 3-0 with that list. But yeah, it actually came down to a very, very intense game of Zoo that was extremely entertaining to watch. It wasn't the same old that we've seen a lot of times, whereby turn 4, you can probably just have a good handle on who's already going to win. But Ostkaka is with us now. Congratulations on the win.
That was sick.
Thank you.
How tense was that last game?
I didn't see the Soulfire for the lethal play, and that was really cool.
I actually had quite a few outs.
Yeah, you had so
that's
many
what I was gonna
outs.
ask,
You had
how many?
Defender.
Abusives.
Do you have Abusives in deck? Okay, and you did Doom
one
Guard.
Direwolf as well, I think.
Do you have Demon Fire?
I don't. In my
Okay,
deck.
because if you did, that was also lethal.
Yeah, but it's like 2 abusive, so yeah. It's the same outs.
That was super sick. And then the second time you went for 2, I was like, oh, man.
Like each time either of us didn't draw the lethal, like we thought it was over, right? We thought the other person would draw it,
exactly.
and then
And
just
then-
kept having over and over again.
But he used everything. He had 2 Soulfires early on. He had 2 Doom Guards early on. And he already in 1 Defender and Direwolf, so it's like he had very few outs, I think, to win the game.
Yeah.
So rewinding a little bit as well, we only joined the series when you were in your 3rd game with the Dragon Warrior. How did the first 2 wins go? Were they pretty straightforward with Dragon Warrior?
It was, yeah, just Dragon Warrior stuff.
Oh, okay. So it looked like you were on hand for like a 3-0, but that match obviously went a little bit
it was,
wrong somewhere in the middle.
I mean, I think I'm like slightly favored as a Dragon Warrior to do. That's actually why I'm bringing it.
Oh, interesting.
It's kind of a deck that you don't see a lot because of the Shamans on ladder, but as soon as you remove that matchup, then suddenly I think it's a good deck.
Do you feel the Dragon Warrior for Zoo is winnable at all? Because there was a lot of interesting things that you did that were not exactly that obvious. For example, picking Shaman Hero Power, which was pretty cool, and then all this other stuff. Too.
I play the matchup a lot. It's like a really important one because in Last Year Standing, I'm going to counterpick that matchup like almost every time or try to queue in the first game. So yeah, that's a really, really important matchup. And I also think it's pretty hard to play. It's not all that obvious. I think that, just from experience, I could tell that Life Tap would be like too damaging to myself. I wouldn't have enough time to play all the cards and stuff. So, I was hoping for like anything that did 1 damage, like the Druid,
exactly.
Druid or Mage or Heal is also pretty good. Just to protect your minions. But was left with the Shaman, so that's Yeah,
and throughout the tournament so far as well, have you been obviously that that was a pretty important match for you? Have you been still happy with your lineup that you've brought, or do you think there was some room for improvement maybe?
I think I maybe would have changed like a few cards here and there, but the lineup itself, I think I'm really happy with. I believe JJ's also playing the same one, and he's so far undefeated.
Yeah, job well done. So you're 5-2?
Yes.
Okay, wow, staying alive.
So
you have any questions?
No, you covered everything I was going to ask, so that's fine. Yeah,
congratulations on the win.
I love watching you play, dude. I love watching you play. It's so refreshing. It makes me not want to watch other people.
Just never. I will only cast Ostkaka games.
It's just,
from now on.
yeah, it is. I'll send it back otherwise.
Well, you can go and prepare for your next match. So
Yeah.
congratulations on that win.
Thanks.
And that's going to be us for the moment, at least. We're just going to go to a break while we set up the next round. We've got 2 more rounds left until Swiss is over, and we will find out who our top 16 is. So don't go anywhere. This is DreamHack Winter here at Jönköping, Sweden. We'll be back soon.